As the sun dipped low in the sky, Emma found herself stranded on the side of a desolate road, her car lifeless and her phone teetering on the brink with just 1% battery left. The closest gas station lay several miles off as the sun began its descent behind the trees. Fortune seemed to smile upon her, or so she believed, as the roar of engines intensified. A band of leather-clad bikers rolled in, surrounding her like predators eyeing their prey. Their smiles lacked warmth. "It seems you're quite isolated in this place, darling," one of them taunted, dismounting from his bike and popping his knuckles. Their laughter echoed ominously as they began to encircle. Emma felt her heart pounding in her chest. She pressed herself against her dilapidated vehicle, her thoughts racing as she searched for a way out. Yet, just as someone was about to reach for her, a steady, resonant voice filled the atmosphere. "Hello. I believe you gentlemen have stepped into the incorrect arena." The bikers halted, their eyes darting about, bewildered. From where had that voice emerged? A silhouette emerged from the shadows of a tree, and as the figure was illuminated, the confident smirks of the bikers faded into uncertainty. It was indeed John Cena. 6 feet of muscle, attitude, and an undeniable aura of wrestling greatness loomed between Emma and the crew. The front rider attempted to deceive his way forward. "Who on earth do you think you are?" Cena simply smiled. "I will arrive unexpectedly." In an instant, he bridged the gap. A single punch knocked the first biker to the ground. One more swung a chain, but Cena evaded the strike and executed his iconic attitude adjustment straight onto the ground. 2 more lunged forward, only to find themselves ensnared in a double-closed line that left them breathless on the ground. The final one, sensing the shift in fortune, leaped onto his bike and raced off, but not before Cena delivered a powerful kick to the back tire, causing the bikes to skid off the road. As the chaos faded away, Emma found it difficult to trust what she was seeing. Cena glanced at her, presenting a comforting smile. "Are you all right?" "Indeed." Gratefulness spilled from her lips as she stammered, still in disbelief. "Happy to have been around the area." With a mischievous glint in his eye, he shot her a playful wink before casting one final look at the groaning bikers and retrieving his phone. "Let's get a tow truck and the police involved for these individuals." From that day forward, Emma recounted the same tale, the moment she encountered John Cena and how the Invisible Man appeared just when she required a hero the most. The sun sank beneath the horizon, its descent accompanied by the haunting wail of police sirens drawing near. John remained composed beside Emma, arms crossed, while the bikers struggled to rise, battered, bruised, and utterly humiliated. As the sheriff's vehicle arrived, 2 deputies leaped from it, weapons at the ready, anticipating conflict. However, as soon as they recognized the figure in the center of the road, the older deputy relaxed his grip on his weapon and let out a laugh. "Well, I must say that's surprising. Price. I ought to have realized." John merely nodded in response. "Good evening, Sheriff. The gentlemen present were causing a disturbance for the young lady. I recommend they find a place to stay that offers a bit more discomfort than the open road." The officers restrained the bikers individually, stifling their laughter as they observed the fear flickering in the tough guy's gaze. A lone biker, still grimacing from the recent lesson in humility, murmured quietly to himself, "How on earth were we supposed to know John Cena was here?" Emma caught the sheriff's gaze. "Are you okay, miss?" Emma nodded, her anxiety gradually easing. Indeed, had he not arrived, the outcome remains uncertain. The sheriff doffed his hat. "Fortunately for you, Cena has a talent for finding himself exactly where he needs to be when it matters most." Later at the diner, John and Emma settled into a cozy corner booth with steaming mugs of hot coffee placed invitingly before them. The vintage jukebox emitted a gentle country melody as Emma finally released a soft chuckle. "I remain in disbelief. So, you're simply meandering through the countryside, helping out random folks?" Cena shrugged, revealing that unmistakable grin. "No, I'm just assisting whenever possible. Perfect timing, perfect location. Moreover, I appreciate the serene pathways." Emma beamed with delight. "Congratulations, you've gained another admirer." At that moment, the diner door let out a soft creak as it swung open. A tall figure entered, clad in a hoodie and dark sunglasses. He approached the counter with a deliberate slowness, placing his order for a coffee while keeping his gaze fixed downward. John's eyes narrowed with intensity. The man's posture stirred a sense of alertness within him. "Stay here," Cena murmured softly, getting up from the booth. Emma tilted her head, a look of bewilderment crossing her face. "What is it exactly?" Without a word, John made his way to the counter. The challenges were far from resolved. A change swept through the diner, altering the atmosphere. The tranquility that followed the rescue evaporated instantly when the man in the hoodie placed his coffee order. John Cena's instincts, honed through years of wrestling and real-life experiences, indicated that this individual was more than just an ordinary traveler. At last, the man lifted his gaze. Their gazes locked in a moment of connection. A gradual smirk crept onto his face. "Ah," the stranger remarked. "I had been wishing to cross paths with you." John's body tightened, his muscles wound up like tightly coiled springs. "Who might you be?" The man nonchalantly dipped his hand into his pocket, and for a fleeting moment, the whole diner appeared to pause in anticipation. John advanced, poised to neutralize the threat. Yet, rather than a weapon, the man revealed a weathered ebony leather glove. "My name is Cole. You eliminated my team while we were traveling." He gestured toward the parking lot. "I rode alongside them. You must have arrived ahead of me." Emma, catching wind of this, tensed in her chair. John softened his tone. "There are two paths before you, Cole. Leave this place, or we conclude this matter." Cole let out a low, sardonic laugh. "You probably believe I'm not very bright. I didn't show up for the first round." He waved his hand toward the window. John cast his eyes toward the window. 3 additional bikes were parked across the street, and their riders had no intention of stopping for coffee. "They await the signal," Cole remarked, rising gradually. "So, champion, what will your choice be?" John's gaze fell upon Emma, who remained motionless in the booth. He turned his gaze back to Cole and gave his neck a sharp crack. "I was hoping you'd say that," John murmured. With a swift and decisive action, John drove Cole's head into the counter, effectively extinguishing his will to fight. The diner was filled with gasps, yet John was already in motion. He pivoted towards the door, crossing the threshold just as Cole's friends began to process what was happening. The bikers outside roared their engines, clearly ready for a confrontation, but they were unprepared for John Cena. In an instant, punches were thrown, helmets shattered, and boots collided with the ground. John's power and agility were unparalleled, and soon enough, the bikers lay scattered across the lot, groaning in surrender. Cole, still disoriented within the confines of the diner, attempted to rise, but Emma, wielding a coffee pot, firmly held her position. She cautioned that it might be best to refrain from participating in this one. As the final biker rolled away, John strolled back indoors, flicking dust from his sleeves. "The sheriff's already on his way," Emma said, raising her phone for emphasis. John cast a final glance at Cole. "You lads truly should complete your assignments. When you choose your next target, ensure that John Cena isn't in the vicinity." Later that night, with the bikers gone for good, Emma sat on the diner steps next to John, the stars twinkling gently above them. "So," she asked, "do you simply roam about rescuing people like an unseen champion?" John let out a soft laugh. "Nope. The perfect moment, the ideal setting, and a touch of fortune." Emma beamed. "Indeed, the world would benefit from having more individuals with your qualities." John rose to his feet, extending his arms wide. "Perhaps. For the time being, it's solely me." With that, he offered her a final wink and vanished into the night, as silently as he had come. For in the end, though he remains unseen, his presence is ever constant. Several weeks had gone by since that unforgettable night at the diner, yet Emma found her thoughts lingering on it. Whenever her thoughts drifted, they inevitably returned to that singular idea. What would have happened if John Cena hadn't been present? However, destiny, or perhaps chance, still had more to reveal in her tale. On a serene afternoon, Emma had at last gathered enough funds to acquire a new vehicle, bidding farewell to her worn-out, battered car. New wheels, pristine tires, engine purring like a melody. She cruised home from the familiar diner, windows rolled down, the breeze tousling her hair, a sensation that everything was finally falling back into place. Yet, as she traveled down the endless road, the roar of engines began to swell in the distance behind her. This time, however, it was a different crew altogether. These bikes exhibited greater speed, a more aggressive demeanor, and maneuvered in a more compact formation. She caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror, her stomach knotting with unease. A sleek black motorcycle adorned with vibrant red flames glided to a stop beside her. The rider lifted his helmet just enough to expose a wicked grin. "You believed the story had reached its conclusion, didn't you?" Emma felt a flutter in her chest. These were not merely ordinary bikers. They belonged to a larger group, the Steel Vipers, and it was evident that news of the girl Cena rescued had circulated widely. Her phone lay just beyond her grasp. Her vehicle lacked the necessary speed. The bikers began to encircle her, hindering her progress, causing her heart to race. Just as the leader lifted a gloved hand, signaling his crew to attack, a black SUV thundered onto the road, slicing right through their midst. The window on the passenger side slid down smoothly. A recognizable voice chimed in, "Seems like you could use a sidekick." Emma's jaw fell open in disbelief. It was indeed John Cena. Once more. The SUV screeched to a halt, causing two of the bikes to veer off the road and tumble into a ditch. Cena sprang from the vehicle before it had fully come to a halt. As one of the bikers charged forward, Cena pivoted with precision, unleashing a swift elbow strike that sent the man crashing to the ground. Emma swiftly parked her car and jumped out, positioning herself next to John as the other bikers roared their engines and encircled them. "Are you with me?" he inquired, casting a sidelong look at her. Emma gave a slight nod. "Indeed. It's time to complete the journey they began." John smiled broadly. "That's exactly the kind of response I appreciate." This confrontation transcended mere rescue this time. It was a struggle. Emma swiftly ducked and swung a tire iron at one biker's knee while John tackled the others with the determination of someone on a quest. One by one, the metallic serpents succumbed. Worn out, marked by struggle, yet resolute, Emma faced John. "Why do I sense that this won't be our final encounter?" John let out a soft laugh as he assisted her in brushing off the dust. "For the simple reason that trouble is relentless." Later that night, as the sheriff loaded the latest group of aspiring tough guys into patrol cars, Emma leaned against the hood of her car. "You know, John, perhaps I ought to stay by your side from here on out." John beamed with his signature grin. "Perhaps it's time for you to discover some techniques of your own." She arched an eyebrow. "Are you proposing to provide me with training?" Cena acknowledged with a nod. "In the future, you'll manage just fine on your own. You will take on the role of the savior."